Some jobs come with great perks, and no one knows that better than our next guest. Peter Cheney is an automotive journalist for the Globe and Mail, and part of his job was to take a 500 horsepower 2010 Porsche 997, I got to get this right, 997 Turbo, because it matters in terms of the expense out on the racetrack, with a price tag of, get this, $180,000. It's one of the more expensive cars he's brought home from work. So, but then his son accidentally sent the car out on a 5-foot joyride through the garage door. He says it changed the way he parents, and he joins us this morning to explain. So you bring this car home, you put it in the garage, and then you go in the house, or you go about your business, and then what happened?
Well, my son announced that he wanted to show his friend the car, which is not an uncommon occurrence in our house, because I always have cool cars.
Yeah.
I said, fine. I thought he was going to walk out to the garage and look at it like all the other cars. Well, in fact, he decided to take the key because he wanted to turn on the stereo and see the Porsche navigation screen come up. Fatal mistake. He doesn't know how to drive a stick.
Uh-oh.
And he got in the car. As best we can determine, he decided to put the key in and put the clutch to the floor, thinking it was probably the brake. And it started up, and he released the pedal, and the car launched itself like a Saturn V booster. It was amazing how much force it generated in 5 feet.
I guess so, and you can see when it goes right through that garage door. Did you hear it at the time?
No, I was in the house, and I was just about to head down to the office. I was thinking about what a perfect day this was.
And you just brought this home.
Well, I'd had it for several days. I'd been at Mossport the day before, which was also my anniversary. My 26th anniversary. So 260 kilometers an hour on the track, headed to the store to get cards and flowers for my wife. Not a nick on that car. And then the very next day, the next morning, it's trashed in my garage.
How did you find it? Did he come in and say, oh, by the way, I've got something? Like, what do you do?
It was a strange moment. It was kind of surreal. It was sort of the Twilight Zone. He was running towards the house with his eyes the size of saucers, and he was just sputtering. He couldn't even speak. He said, Dad, the Porsche, I thought it had been stolen. That was my first thought. I had no clue what I was about to see.
So how did he tell you?
He didn't really tell me. He couldn't quite explain. He said the Porsche rolled, and I walked into the garage, and, well, you saw the pictures. I confronted this scene, this $180,000 car, not including taxes or freight, halfway into the alley with my garage door bent up around it. The parts of the garage were scattered through the alley. The garage door opener was ripped off. The tracks were off. It wasn't pretty.
What did you do?
Well, I couldn't do anything for 30 seconds. I was stunned. I was literally stunned. And then I yelled at him for a few seconds, and then I calmed down, and I called Porsche, which is one of the more difficult calls of my life.
I guess so.
And they were super cool, actually. Their rep is a racer who's probably wrecked 30 or 40 cars on the track. And he came over. He was super cool. He turned to my son and said, well, this happens.
Did he really say that?
He
Wow.
said, it's only a car. We're glad you're all right. And
this is before you get the bill, though, right?
Yes.
And then they total up the damages, and they tell you what?
Well, I tried to pay for it myself. I don't know. I thought it was the right thing to do, but I couldn't, because it has to be covered by their insurance policy. My insurance policy had to cover my garage.
Okay.
So, of course, the great question was the parenting response, which is the big one.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be angry and who wouldn't be frustrated? But what do you do in terms of penalty, or what do you do?
Well, his mistake was kind of a standard one in many respects. It was a teenage mistake. It just happened to be with a highly symbolic, highly expensive car. I have friends whose kids have destroyed their houses. One flushed an action figure down the toilet, flooded the house while they were away, just about destroyed it.
I should laugh. That's bad.
Yeah.
But, an action figure.
And you mentioned your friend whose kid scratched I love you on the brand new Porsche.
On his brand new Porsche, yeah.
My son's mistake was an innocent one. It was an act of hubris. He should never have taken the key. I didn't know he'd had it. So our response was to make him get a summer job to repay the insurance deductibles. The insurance deductible on Porsche is too high, but he's got to repay as much as he can.
Okay.
And he got grounded, of course. And I don't need to lecture him anymore about cars and responsibility.
What was his reaction when, because the bill, if I'm not mistaken, when I was looking at the bill to repair was over $11,000.
It is.
What was his reaction to that?
He didn't really know what to say.
Yeah.
I mean, what could a boy who just turned 18 say? He doesn't have the ability to earn that amount of money. I think it was a great coming-of-age story for him. It was kind of Willie Bueller's Day Off. He realized the consequences of his actions. I don't think kids always do.
But that's a tough position for a parent, because you're sitting there and you know, yes, at the end of the day, it was an accident.
Yes.
But as most accidents, it could have been prevented.
But it was a particular type of accident. He was showing off a bit, showing his friend the car. I would look back at myself and thought, would I have done that? Maybe. Maybe I would have. I mean, this thing was calling to him like the sirens in Homer. It's the most desirable car you can buy. It's sitting out in the garage. He wants to
so
show his
cool
friends.
to
It is
see.
the coolest. It was kind of the perfect storm, parenting-wise.
Wow. Well, and you got through it.
We
and
did get through it.
He's going to have that job and pay the deductible. Good
Yes.
for him. That's great. And so next time you bring a Lamborghini home, he stay with you?
I don't think I even have to tell him anymore. They're in the same place, but he knows not to touch them now.
Yeah, I bet he does. Peter Cheney, thanks so much for coming and
Thank
sharing
you,
your story
Beverly.
with us.